Okay, so today we're talking about the overwhelm of all of the therapy and all the programs. So what do you do whenever you feel like we need a break? It's a lot. We got to be everywhere. We got to do all the things. There's a lot of programs. There's a lot of therapy. There's a lot of meetings. We got to be everywhere all the time for our child. Well, the first thing I'm going to say about it is don't feel bad because you're not the only one. Okay? It's a lot. You know what I mean? When your child is first diagnosed, no matter how old your child is, whether they're young, whether they're old, whether they're school aged or not, you want to be able to do the best thing for your child. And it's overwhelming. You don't know what to do. You want to find out what to do. You want the best for your child. Whenever I'm in these groups, there are a lot of parents who come into these groups and they say, my child was just diagnosed. I don't know where to start. That's the first thing they say. I don't know where to start. I'm here to learn all the things. I don't know anything. Okay? And so they are a sponge for knowledge. They want to be the best parent they can for their special needs child, for their autistic son or daughter. Okay? So what happens is everybody's like, do this, do that. The school's like, get them in this program, get them in that program. Okay? And the parent's like, okay, let's do this. I want my son or daughter to have the best chance they can out of life. Okay? Because regular programs for children who don't have special needs is not going to work well for them. I want them to have the best chance they can, right? What do you do whenever it's so much that you need a break? And then you feel guilty because I should be stronger than this as a parent. I should be able to do this. Don't feel bad. It's a lot, okay? So now what I'm seeing is that these parents are like, we're always on our way to therapy. My child has therapy all the time. We're always either on our way to therapy or on our way to some programs, especially the parents that have more than one child with autism at home. It's a lot. Between the meltdowns and the non-sleeping children and the kids that won't eat and the tantrums it's overwhelming. And the parents are trying and doing the best they can. So let's talk about it. What do you do when you feel like you need a break from these programs? What do you do? Okay. So first, let's talk about this. Do you even need all these programs? Do you? No, you don't. Let's start with that. You don't need them all. Okay? Let me tell you a secret. We didn't use all those programs. So the same thing happened with us. Hassan was diagnosed. He was a little older whenever he was diagnosed. He was diagnosed at age 5. A lot of children are diagnosed much younger. They're diagnosed at age 2, 3. He was diagnosed at age 5. So he was kindergarten age. And the first thing, they tried to make me feel like he was behind already because he was so old when he was diagnosed. Not that he was old, because there are kids that are diagnosed even older. But many kids are diagnosed much younger. And so they made it seem like, oh, he's behind the ball. I mean, you should have had him in these programs. Oh, we got to get him started with this, that, and the other. You got to get him in this program, and you got to get him that in program. Let's get him caught up. Let's get him up to speed with what's going on. I mean, he's behind. I didn't feel like he needed all of it. And it was overwhelming. I didn't want to be burned out. I didn't want to be overwhelmed, and I didn't want him to be overwhelmed. One of the programs that he qualified for, and there are a lot of these terms and these programs nowadays that they have for children with autism that I'm not familiar with because they didn't have 20 years ago. But back then, whenever Hassan was diagnosed, they had TSSs. I don't know if they still have TSS, a therapeutic support staff. And A therapeutic support staff person, the state would assign to your child, and those were the people who would the state, if your child had Medicaid would pay for that person to go with your child wherever. And that person would go. I talked about this in another video where that child would, or that person would be with your child at home to assist at home with activities, daily activities, bathing, eating, putting them to bed, whatever you needed, even with, going to activities at church, day camp, babysitting. They would go to school with them. They would go to church, whatever. A TSS was a great person because they would assist with family vacation, whatever, okay? And they were trained for children with autism, and that would be their person, okay? They would follow them wherever they went. And they were like, "Oh, we're going to assign you a TSS." And they were just putting these things in place. And I was like, "I don't think we need a TSS." And they were like, "What?" "Oh, no, yeah, we're going to get you one, and we're going to go ahead and sit." And I was like, I don't feel like my son needs that confusion. I think we're doing okay at home. Yes, he has tantrums. Yes, I feel like unless we need that, if you need it, fine. But I feel like, we don't need, you know what I mean? And this is not a discussion about what I need versus what you need. But I felt like all of the programs that were offered, I first wanted to think about him and what he needed and what was going to be too much for him. And I didn't want to introduce too much for him at one period. You know what I mean? So if I was going to introduce 5 different programs, I didn't want 5 programs to come at him all at once. Does that make sense? I was trying to think of how I wanted to say it. So that takes me to my next point. Program overload. That's the thing. And I mentioned it a second ago. Burnout. It's too much. If you guys are having therapy and programs and activities, from sun up to sundown, Monday through Saturday, that's too much. There's no time for anything else. There's a barbecue on Saturday. Oh no, we can't. There's a birthday. He has class. He has sessions. He has his program from 9 to 11:30, and then we got to be such and such place at 12, and then at 3 he has his, and then his sponsor is gonna. That's too much. You can't build your own family time, your own family schedule. You don't have a routine. That stuff is important. You know what I mean? How and not just that. What about your other kids? Autistic or not, what about your other kids? You know what I mean? The whole family life can't be about your son or daughter's programs and therapy. Does that make sense? It's too much, okay? And then you get to the point where you're burned out, and then your child gets to the point where they're burned out, and then your marriage gets to the point where it's burned out, and then or your child's other parent, whether they live in the house or not, they're burned out because you need their assistance. Your other children, and then the house gets neglected. The laundry is overflowing, and then you're not home to cook healthy meals, so you guys are getting processed food and packaged meals, and see how that snowballs? See how the domino effect? Now you're just trying to get the kids fed. You're trying to get them to eat whatever they're gonna eat because it's a big deal. It's too much. So what do you do instead? Okay. I want you to choose seasonal programs. It's not that you don't want your child to be in programs, or you just want to eliminate programs. Choose maybe some seasonal programs. So for instance, what do I mean by seasonal programs? So like for instance, not all programs are just therapy programs. Some programs are activity programs. And you're thinking like, this is a really good program. I think my son or daughter will enjoy this. This is a good program for kids with special needs. We were on a waiting list for a long time. It's a free program. It's a discounted program. It's a program in our community. Some friends at school or a family member is part of this program. I want my child to be a part of some of these programs, just not all at one time. Maybe you don't want to be in an annual program, maybe a 6-week program. So like, for instance, Hassan was part of a soccer program, okay? And it was a Jewish community. I remember it was a Jewish community program, and it was free. And it was like a 12-week program twice a year. It wasn't real soccer. The kids got to run around the gym, and I remember this program. They had college interns volunteer from the local colleges to work with the kids with special needs one-on-one. And they would set up the little soccer goalies, and they would just help them kick the ball around. It was a 1-hour thing once a week for 12 weeks. And then they gave them a pizza party at the end of the 12 weeks. It was the cutest thing ever. And Hassan was like, he was in like 3rd grade. He was like 9 or 10. You know what I mean? It was a seasonal program twice a year. And he did that for like 4 years. You know what I mean? Another thing he did in Pittsburgh, they had Civic Light Opera. It was an artistic program for kids with special needs. It was acting classes. And it was like, I don't know, $50 for like a 6-week program. And they worked with children with autism and special needs. And it was downtown. And Civic Light Opera in Pittsburgh was like a creative and performing arts, situation. But they had it for children with special needs. And so it was after school. It was like from 6 to 7 p.m., 6 to 7:30 p.m. on like Tuesday nights or something for like 6 weeks. It was like $50. So I let him participate in that. And then I let him participate in art classes at the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. And it was not for kids with special needs. But Hassan is an artist. So I let him do that on Saturday mornings. But again, it wasn't an annual thing. But also, right now they have ABA. I told you about the ABA, for kids with special needs. I forget what the acronym is. But the thing is that for some kids, the parents put them in ABA, and it's like all day. Or they have ABA for, a couple days a week or a couple hours per day. But you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? You can take them like twice a week. Or, in the evenings after school, like, once or, you know what I mean? Or on Saturday morning. You don't have to, you know what I mean? So I want, whenever they offer these programs at school or, you know what I mean? Again, you're the parent. You make the decision or put them in the program and see how your son or daughter does. And if you feel like it's over, you say, let's cut back on these hours. We need some more time at home. You know what I mean? Whenever you're considering programs, pick 1 or 2 and not 5. So whenever I talk about Hassan being in soccer and Civic Light Opera and art classes, he never did all of these at the same time. You know what I mean? I think Civic Light Opera he did just in the summer times. And then art classes it was in the fall. And then soccer was in the spring. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not all at the same time. Like, pick when, you know what I mean? But not all the time. And prioritize time at home. You know what I mean? Make sure, try to prioritize maybe like, and this is a suggestion. We sit down at home to eat dinner together at 7 p.m. every night. Or we have family fun night or board game night on Friday nights. Or we have, movie night on Saturdays at 7 p.m. or whatever. You know what I mean? Prioritize time at home so that you guys can have your togetherness, or if you decide that, these are the days that we do X, Y, and Z at home, keep that date, and don't say, well, I mean, his program, pick a different program if it interferes with that particular time at home that you decided to prioritize. Because time at home with family is priority. Do you see what I'm saying? Another thing I wanted to let you know, care.com has autism babysitters. So I keep seeing, and I feel like this video was a time where I could talk about this. Because when parents talk about needing a break, a lot of times it's because they need a break, not just from the therapy and the programs, but also they need a break from parenting a lot of times. You know what I mean? And again, you don't need to feel, guilty for that. Sometimes you just need a break from being a parent. You need some time away from home. You need a date night. You need some time away to just be with your own thoughts. And a lot of times parents of special needs children have a hard time getting a babysitter, getting the neighbor or your mom or a family member to babysit because they don't understand your child, or they don't, we talked before about how it's difficult for people who don't understand autism to watch your autistic child, right? So, but care.com, you can hire them to babysit, but care.com has autism babysitters who are certified, who have experience. You can hire them. They are reasonable. They have regular clients. You can hire them to watch your baby for the weekend, or to even go with you on vacation, to the beach, to the Airbnb, to grandma's house. If you drop them off at grandma's house, they can assist grandma. You can go on to care.com. You can, have them come to the house and maybe sit with you while you're cooking dinner, while you're taking a shower, while you're doing laundry, and you can watch them and observe them with your child and pay them however, $10, $15, $20 an hour, while they sit with you during dinner time, while they help you, assist you with your child. So I wanted to let you know that as well, because sometimes you just need a break, okay? So I hope this helps. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.